Testing. Is that good?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Amen. How beautiful, Mr. Billquist. Thank you for being with us, and thank you, everyone, for being here. Those of you in the sanctuary, those on Zoom, those streaming. Welcome to our Mother's Day service today. It's a change of our routine of the first and third Sundays, but in honor of Mother's Day and in honor of not getting stuck in traffic on Beta Breakers next week, we have service today. So welcome, everybody. Those are the same stars, and that is the same moon that look down upon your brothers and sisters, and which they see as they look up to them, though they are ever so far away from us and each other. Our opening music is hymn number 203, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky, 203. Please stand. budded, greening branch. You stand as firmly rooted in your nobility as the dawn advances. Now rejoice and be glad. Consider us frail ones worthy to free us from our destructive ways. Put forth your hand and raise us up.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
So I'm not going to go behind the podium if that's okay. I'm going to sit right here on the steps. And thank you, Dr. Benton, for inviting me to share today a little bit. So some of you I know, looks like we might have some new people here today. And my name is Rick, and so this is meditation or mindfulness in this moment. And so this is actually a huge part of my practice, that I've been a Buddhist practitioner for a long time, and I believe I've had some wonderful teachers. So, and one of my teachers has actually been this church because it shares such kindness and goodness. So it's like, oh, everyone's invited here. So it's really beautiful to come over here. And the words, when you think of, for me, I want to I'll share a little moment of explaining something, and anything that I'm reflecting on, if it means something to you, you can take that and reflect on it yourself. And if anything I say doesn't agree with you, you're actually also free to let it go and not even cling to it. And that's part of the thing, is clinging and grasping is which causes suffering. So for me, when I think of the word, so mindfulness and meditation, for me, they're co-joined in a word, vipassana, which is mindfulness meditation. And we think, for me, when I think of meditation, I'm thinking, if I break that word apart a little bit, it's to mediate. So I have to mediate between two sides to find the middle, which is often what we're trying to do in life. Where do we find a middle ground? Which is pretty tough with over 8 billion people on the planet. None of us think the same. Pretty tough. We can't even sometimes mediate our own self. The work that I do in my classes, we're often beating ourselves up. And so if I'm thinking negative thoughts or beating myself up, well then how am I going to react when I meet somebody or other people in my family, then my neighborhood, then my city, then my county, my state, my country, my religious beliefs? Boom. Hence, we could use a lot more meditation and mindfulness and mediating. And we're trying to mediate where we cling and grasp, and also where we push away, because it's two sides of the coin. Because if you think, if I'm clinging to this, oh, I'm not getting rid of this, what do you see? My body's tense and tight, isn't it? If I'm pushing it away, I'm tense and tight. So anything that I'm not acknowledging, I'm going to be tense and tight. So what we want to do is acknowledge our thoughts and our feelings so we can mediate them, which is, I can't do that if I don't acknowledge something. So that's been a beautiful practice for me, is learning and it's humbling, because I have to keep letting go. I have to keep, so mindfulness and meditation for me is a practice of what can I let go, because it keeps me from my heart. So I'm going to share, it's Mother's Day poem. So I lead grief and loss groups, and I write poetry. I'm going to read a little something from my book. This poem isn't in my book, but it came from in my practice in being with others and a chaplain, and also the loss of my mother when I was a teenager and having illness in my family, both parents and a sibling. And I realized something when my mother passed away, which is where this poem arose from. So I'm going to share it to you briefly. It's a very short poem. And so it's, for me, it's a remembrance of Mother's Day. We all have a mother here, and maybe we don't. We've lost our mother, and if this poem can help you in any way, be in touch with that place. So it's, I went looking for you everywhere. I went looking for you in the living room. I went looking for you in the bedroom. I went looking for you in the kitchen. I went looking for you outside. And then I looked for you inside, and I found you silently tucked away in my heart. And so this is, to me, so much of my mindfulness practice, because it's trying to come back to what we would say is our heart. We have this organism in here, this organic physiological thing, but it's pumping life into the blood. So we often go to that as our heart. And how do we keep getting in touch with it? When we clash, we have to mediate. We have to find a way to mediate. And so I have to find a way to mediate within oneself, which then allows me to mediate with you. I don't know if that makes sense. If I'm in turmoil, is it going to be easy for you and I to have a discussion? Pretty difficult. Because I'm already upset with everything inside my own thoughts. So I'm sure I'm going to find plenty wrong with somebody else's thoughts. So it's how do we start mediating kindness and compassion for ourselves? So why don't I just do a short little guided meditation? Is that okay? And then I'll end with a little poem from my book. So if you want, close your eyes. And that's for me, to meditate, it's helpful for me because when I close my eyes, then I'm not so busy. Which is what we're trying to do, is help the mind not be so busy. Because it doesn't stop. Thoughts are always going to come. And then just take a moment, since you don't have to look around, see anything. See if you can find the weight, the contact of your body where we're sitting. And so that's known by weight, which is a sensation, a contact. It might be the feet, the buttocks, the back. And there's a pressure there. And so that's actually helping the mind. We're putting a little effort to be present. So we're being curious of the body in this moment. And even as we're being curious, we begin to maybe notice our breath. That's the movement of the air at the tip of the nose, the nostrils moving in and out. You might even notice when we inhale how the belly and the chest, the torso, has a sense of filling up and rising. And when we exhale, there's a release, a letting go. So this is mindful awareness. We're bringing attention, which is what mindfulness, bringing it to meditate, to slow down, to mediate, to not chase everything. So even if we hear sounds inside our body, outside our body, in this room, outside the room, we don't have to chase the sounds. We don't have to make them good, bad, right, or wrong. They're just sound. And if we can do that with sound, we can do that with thoughts. Because we don't control our thoughts. They just come and go. So noticing the space between thoughts, just like our breath. Notice when you inhale, the feeling tone. And when you exhale, notice there's a little space of non-movement, almost like a silence when we exhale before we take the next breath. And as we're following this breath, Imagine your heart is lighting a candle right where your heart is. And just light this candle inside yourself, your heart. And everyone on this planet has a heart. So imagine everyone in this moment, the candle of their heart is being lit. As we're inhaling and exhaling, it's bringing life. So the candle can, imagine your candle glowing brighter, expanding itself. So the light to take over your whole body from this candle, because the breath is breathing life into it, goodness. And imagine every person in this room, in our city, on this planet, at this moment, as they're breathing, their candle light is glowing inside their body. And as the glow goes beyond our body, imagine the glow touching the other glows. The goodness of our heart is meeting the goodness that's within every heart on this planet. And see the glow of the planet. As we inhale and exhale. Just imagine if once a day, for 5 seconds, we can pause and find this glow in our heart and connect it to everyone on this earth. Imagine what's possible. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. And look around. Maybe look at your neighbor, someone you're sitting next to here. And imagine their glow in their heart is looking at your glow. It would be pretty sunny and no fog and overcast today. So I just offer that as a short little meditation, that there's so many ways we can meditate and mediate the dissension that's within us to find this bigger part of our heart and compassion that is always needed here in what I believe in the world and within oneself, that we treat ourselves with kindness and compassion, which is helpful. So I'll end with a little something from my book. My book is entitled, If You Can't Change Your Mood, Change Your Mind. Mindful Reflections Towards Self-Discovery. How often you kept calling my name, though I turned away, wandering to and fro. I could not see. Barely able to lift my feet from this mud, not knowing any better, I continued slogging through the muck and mire. Oh yes, there were many moments of glee, rancorous behavior, shouts of wonder, though my mind continued to dwell in the cavern of dark. Until one day I did look up and saw your glorious smile in the sun. Dear God, it was here that I found your message of love in the streets of life, from the alleyways of judgment to the back roads of ignorance. Sitting by the curbside on this day was a very old young man. He reached out from under his tattered garments with a cupped hand and crooked smile. And this time I chose to look into those eyes and not turn away. Thus I began to cry. The face may not have been familiar, though the eyes were mine. I knew the sad stories, fears, and depression they held. Gazing upward, I am no longer able to ignore your smile. You have taught me that a river of tears arise from within an ocean of compassion, so that we may stand on the deck of the ship called forgiveness and love. So, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Dr. Benton, for allowing me to share this with everyone.
Next hymn, 274, the Mother, Father, and the Son.
Dear Mother, Father of us all, drop thy still dews of quietness upon this gathering, till all our strivings cease. Take from our soul today the strain and stress. and let our lives confess the beauty of thy peace. Mother, Father, bless all. We come into your presence today with a profound sense of loss, with the grief associated with loss. We have lost our precious member, Elaine Stolp. Her presence among us was and will continue to help define this community and all the communities she was part of. We've lost an icon of hope and acceptance in San Francisco, the Reverend Cecil Williams. His presence will also linger with us here in this community and with so many others. Indeed, it will continue to define us. Many of us have lost our own mothers and bring them to mind this Mother's Day. May the reality of their continued presence tucked away in our heart inform our lives today. We have experienced loss, yes. And we have also experienced new life, continued life. There are new relationships, new endeavors, and children, the growing edge of our existence, without whom we wouldn't have Mother's Day. For them and for those of us present today, let us heed the words of Cecil Williams, who said, "Death isn't the greatest thing to be feared, for it homogenizes everyone. Most folks are afraid of living because abundant life requires risking everything to love, liberate, and accept yourself and others now. People are afraid of life, for it creates diversity and requires commitment to action. To live," he says, "is to struggle." May we recognize today the healing presence of the mothering spirit in Cecil Williams, Elaine Stolp, our own mothers, and in our own lives. The spirit of mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, companions in the struggle. Amen. Great Mother, source of our being, be with us today and all our days. Lead us, guide us, and may these words find resonance in your creation. Amen. We can learn a great deal from the way Mother Earth holds us all. The criminals, the saints, the weak, the strong, the rich, the poor, without rejecting us and always giving us a chance to start over. Well, the opening words are from an important teacher of mine, Sabanfu Somé. They encompass the spirit of the Great Mother, the one who holds us, all of us, and gives us the chance to start over. It is the spirit described by Hildegard of Bingen as the greening branch. This is the mothering image upon which we want to depend. Somé is speaking, I think, to the power of healing. She says that we can learn from Mother Earth, learn about connectedness and the unconditional love of the Mother. A greening branch, yes, but also loving arms in the flesh to hold us. On this Mother's Day, I feel drawn to this image. The mothering spirit, evident in nature and evident in the lives of human beings. I'm fortunate to be able to see this mothering spirit on a regular basis in my own home. I've got that mother here today, Danielle, my daughter-in-law, and her 2 children. I'm able to experience it in real time. And yet, it is an experience, a spirit that may or may not have been part of our own experience with our actual mother at least not all the time. For our human mothers are human. They are products of their own history and their own struggles. And like all mothers and fathers as well, they are torn between their own needs and the needs of their children. They are called to give us a chance to start over with support. The support needed to grow into our own mothering presence. Whether we call this presence God, Goddess, Spirit, scarcely matters. It is what allows us to lean into the power of connection, of fellowship, like this fellowship. It is the power that is present when we're able to lean on each other, much like a community based upon the sound principles of Mother Earth, of the mothering presence. I'm reminded today of a profound story by Olive Schreiner. Now, Olive Schreiner was a South African woman that Howard Thurman was very taken with her writings. I can't speak for Dr. Thurman, but I think that it's possible that he saw in her writings a kind of way to balance his own spirituality as a man and not as a woman. And Olive Schreiner spoke to the plight of women in a very powerful way. This excerpt is contained within the longer work entitled 3 Dreams in a Desert. And you can find this online. It's amazing. In part, the story goes like this. I saw a desert and I saw a woman coming out of it. And she came to the bank of a dark river. And the bank was steep and high. And on it, an old man met her, who had a long white beard, and a stick that curled was in his hand. And on it was written, reason. And he asked her what she wanted. And she said, I am woman, and I am seeking for the land of freedom. And he said, it is before you. She said, how do I get there? He said, there is one way and one only. Down the banks of labor, through the water of suffering. There is no other. And she said, I am ready. Let me go. And he said, no, but stay. What is that in your breast? She was silent. He said, open it and let me see. She opened it. And against her breast was a tiny thing who drank from it. And the yellow curls above his forehead pressed against it. And his knees were drawn up to her, and he held her breast fast with his hands. And reason said, who is he, and what is he doing here? She said, look at his little wings. And reason said, put him down. And she said, he is asleep and he is drinking. I will carry him to the land of freedom. He has been a child so long. I have carried him. In the land of freedom, he will be a man. And reason said, Put him down. He said, he will not die. When he finds you have left him alone, he will open his wings and fly. He will be in the land of freedom before you. Those who reach the land of freedom, the first hand they see stretching down the bank to help them shall be love's. The woman's search for the land of freedom is, I think, every person's search. Thurman speaks of this search, and so do many other teachers. Schreiner's description, though, I think, is different. Within it are contained struggles that are part of our lived experience as mothers and as mothers' sons or daughters. Within it are contained the choices we must make when we love another, yet want to continue our journey toward healing and wholeness. This story, I think, changes the script, changes the emphasis from an either-or mindset to a more integrated point of view, where we are able to learn from each other and learn from this mothering spirit. Yet within this story is also the realization that we must be able to let go, to allow space for others to make it to the land of freedom as well. Within this story is the recognition that our relationships with others have the potential to go wrong. They have the potential to be, instead of supportive, abusive. Audre Lorde put it this way: to share the power of each other's feelings is different from using another's feelings as we would a Kleenex. When we look the other way from our experience, we use rather than share the feelings of those who participate in the experience with us. And use without consent of the used is abuse. Of course, this is so much a part of our own human story. It's what's happened in our relationship with our own mother, Mother Earth, that Somé spoke of in the beginning. We have used her like a Kleenex without regard for her sacredness, her preciousness, without remembering our origins, our source. This story from Olive Schreiner also reminds me of my own journey in life. As a child myself, certainly in my relationships with my own children and with others that I've encountered. And it reminds me of the life of Sojourner Truth, which has profoundly affected my own life. Her story of motherhood is a strong one that follows the wisdom of Olive Schreiner. Now, just an aside, Olive Schreiner was not a mother, though she had many miscarriages and wanted to be a mother. Sojourner Truth, on the other hand, had many children, presumably, and wasn't given the opportunity to care for many of them since she was enslaved. Truth struggled with freedom and with motherhood as well. Her story mirrors Schreiner's story in that she was torn between her need to nurture her children and to achieve freedom. Reclaiming her son from being sold into slavery was a powerful act of the mothering spirit, and nothing short of a miracle in the time that she was able to do it. Later, she brought that same son, Peter, with her to New York. And it was during this time that her resolve to care for him, to give him a chance to start over, were eventually exhausted. And she had to put him down. She had to allow him the space to find his own freedom. This illustrates, I think, the difference between our aspirations, our urges to care for each other, and the reality of our tethered existence. Our urges to care for others unconditionally as part of what Thurman called the moments of our high resolve. They are the part of us that aspires to come closer to the Earth Mother, that greening branch that we can lean on and learn from. In these moments, we become aware of something that holds us, something that has a hold of us. This something has been with us from the start. It has searched us out in order to remind us of the power of connection and acceptance, the power of giving us a chance to start over. May we increase our awareness of this power and follow the example of Olive Schreiner, of Sojourner Truth, of Cecil Williams, of Elaine Stolp, and so many more that we're remembering today. May we keep fresh before us the moments of our high resolve, that we may not forget that to which our lives are committed, and that we may not forget our connection to Mother Earth, the one who has searched us and knows us, the one who has woven us together in the depths of the earth, the one whose loving hand reaches out to help us in times of distress, the one upon whom we can depend. Amen.
I'd like to take this upon myself to wish you all a happy Mother's Day. All of you fathers and all of you mothers, I feel very happy to have you with us today. Let us resolve now to pay the bills for this place. By giving generously from our heart to this church. Oh God, our help in these past, our hope in years to come. We thank you for the gift of all mothers in the world, those who nurture us, those who give us life. We thank you for the gift of the church for the fellowship of all people. We thank you for the ministry of Christ and redemption and fulfillment. We thank you for all that is given in this offering today, and we thank you for those who would have given but were unable to. Bless us now as we go forward. Amen.
Good afternoon. Welcome and thank you for coming to worship with us this morning. The theme of the day for me is, how many hats can Brian wear? Happy Mother's Day to the mothers and those who nurtured us along the way. As I think of Mother's Day, I think of all the women in my life who had a significant part in helping me to grow from kindergarten, elementary school, high school, college, and just people that I've, as an adult, that I've encountered that help to shed light on my path to help me to be the person that I am today. We'd like to thank those who are on Zoom this morning: Brenda, Courtney, Reverend Liz, Randy, Robert Thomas Simpson, Vahid, Wade, Rosemary, and John. We thank them for being there, and we thank you for being here. Are there any announcements from the body? Seeing no announcement. Yes.
I believe today is Cecil Williams' honorary celebration at 1 o'clock. Probably mostly spaced outside.
Yeah. Great, thank you. Lost track of where I was going. So next Sunday, we will have our check-in. We normally do it today, but if you're on our email list and you get the email for next week, it's going to be to check in, to do the Zoom check-ins at 12:30. And if you're not on our email list and you want to get that email, see me and I can put you on the list to make sure that you can get the email. We like to keep everyone involved in our community who would like to be. Here at Fellowship Church, our focus is to find the common ground where each of us can share in the riches of our differences and partake in the fruits of the Spirit. We could find that focus expressed in our commitment on the front of the bulletin. And would you read it along with me at this time? I affirm my need for growing understanding of all peoples as children of God, and I seek after a vital experience of God as revealed in Jesus of Nazareth and other great religious spirits whose fellowship with God was the foundation of their fellowship with all people. I desire to share in the spiritual growth and ethical awareness of people of varied national, cultural, racial, and creedal heritage united in a religious fellowship. I desire the strength of corporate worship through membership in the Church for the Fellowship of All Peoples, with the imperative of the personal dedication to the working out of God's purpose here in all places. I do remember what I forgot is to ask our visitors if you'd like to introduce yourselves. I'll bring the mic down so that people on Zoom can hear you. Just your name and how you came about being here this morning. Anyone? Afternoon at this time. Anyone?
Hi, I'm Mary from Orlando. I'm visiting my Aunt Libby, who lives here. I haven't seen her in like 15 years. It's a good time to come out and visit her for Mother's Day.
Anyone else? No? Sure, why not? Anyone?
Hello, my name is Charlie Taylor. I'm here for the first time. It's been very interesting and rather enlightening. So I'm enjoying myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome. Yes, would you like to introduce yourselves? Good.
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Snyder. I'm here with my wife, Christina, in honor of Mother's Day. She is a wonderful mother. We have some God twins and a God 6-year-old, I guess you would call him, that we've been helping raise for 10 years. But we actually came because we had never been to San Francisco to a service. We don't often go together to a service, and I thought this would be an appropriate place to bring her to San Francisco, being that Cecil Williams is being celebrated today. They weren't doing an 11 o'clock service today, which I had hoped to bring her to that, but I've been aware of this church for over 25 years because I was a student of Reverend Dorsey Blake, who I thought I might see here today. But it's great to see you do your thing. But he taught me of the powerful work of Howard Thurman. So I knew about the history of this church as the first interracial church in the United States, I believe, and I've often touted that. So it's wonderful to finally come here after all these years and see the space. It's just a beautiful space. So thank you for welcoming us here today.
Thank you. Since we've read the commitment, we ask that you join us downstairs for the social hour. And that's it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Brian. You are, when I think of a mothering spirit, I think of Brian. Profound impact on my life. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank Felix for stepping in to his role during our offering. I want to thank Bill Quist for the amazing music he's provided today. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank the visitors for being here. Thank you so much. And just pointing out that, I truly am a mother because my daughter-in-law's here and my grandchildren. So Freddie has never been here, has he? No. So that shows how long it's been since they were here. But Lily was here. as a very young child, and Danielle's been here before, so glad you're with me. Okay, we're moving on to our closing hymn. I chose this closing hymn probably based off of the words of Julia Ward Howe in her Mother's Day proclamation, gathering women together for a day of peace, of wanting peace, and that's the true meaning, I think, of Mother's Day. Any mother, after all the work that goes through having a child, why would you want them to be slain, right? Not anyone's child would we want them to be killed. So in her words, she said, "From the bosom of a devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. The sword of murder is not the balance of justice." Our closing hymn is hymn number 162, "Gonna Lay Down My Sword and Shield." Please stand. Our closing words come from yet another mothering spirit, Cecil Williams. Death is a reality, but life is a reality also. You got to live at this time in your life like you've never lived before. And therefore, you've got to find those values in your life that fulfill what you need to do. Now, what is it that you need to do? Amen.
Mother's Day.
Hello. Oh, hello. Yeah. He likes it. Say hello. Ain't gonna study one more. Ain't gonna study one more. Thank you.